And recording. So, I love Jinjer. Uh, Jinjer is one of those bands where if it wasn't for YouTube, I probably never would have heard of them. I only know of them because of all the reaction videos to Pisces that would show up on my feed. So, like year and a half, 2 years ago, whenever that started, um, that's actually when I was first exposed to them. And I liked them so much that I tried to set up a Pandora station based off of them that I could listen to while I was doing warehouse work. But unfortunately, Pandora's algorithm is so fucked up that it only repeated the same like three, maybe four songs from them. So, me being a bad fan, I was under the assumption that they only had like one album, two albums, and I never backtracked to download their discography because I was so busy working. Move forward to the pandemic era. I actually had a request to do a song called Pit of Consciousness, and I didn't recognize the title, so I did a quick search and realized that they just released an album last year, Macro, and I was completely unaware. So I'm a very, very bad fan, and I have to actually go now and backtrack and listen to all the stuff I missed. So I'll probably do a couple of videos reacting to more Ginger songs, and then after like three, I'll go back and just listen to the entire discography because I love them so much, and I feel like I'm not gonna be able to critique them properly just because I'm gonna be so like in love with the music. Now that being said, I have the Napalm Records official video queued up here on YouTube, and it's about a 4.5, 5 minute song, and I'm all about this. Go!
I keep on losing the keys from reality, and now I'm passing on the well to insanity. And also clouded color, waiting for my time to come, waiting for the battle to be crucified. I'm climbing end of the feast, and I scratch concrete shine in the end. My mistake, it's not there. The air is terribly heavy here. It settles inside and I suffer burn after burn from the dark. In a pit of consciousness, skull is bleeding, so I feel there was someone else before me. Eyes are changing colors, a stranger knocks on my mind. I became a foreigner to myself. Still
Give it a pause there. Sounds like she's gonna go into some more actual singing, some clean singing. So I'll backtrack that a little. Uh, I love the duality of her voice because the growls that she does are so perfect. Like they're all on tone or in tune, excuse me, and it just sits really well in the mix with like the distortion. Like it plays off it really well, and then her clean vocals, like I swear to God, she could be like an R&B artist right now and be selling like 100 times more albums than she's selling now. But she loves this music, and I love her. So I'm glad she's doing like metal. The but the quality of her voice is so good, and that she can go back and forth between the two without damaging her vocal cords. That just shows like how great a singer she is and how much control she has. And I know that's something everyone says in all their reaction videos about her, but it bears repeating because it's true. Um, the actual band, I feel like they don't get enough recognition. The bassist is coming through really clearly in the clean parts. It's got a nice little funk, nice little groove to it. The guitar is doing like a little melodic piece during that same section that sounds really groovy and really cool. Distortion just hits you over the head when the song started. So like everything about this is nice and good. Let me backtrack. It's about the 2 minute mark. I think she said something about um, I'm trying not to pay too much attention to the lyrics, but one of the lines kind of stood out where she said she doesn't recognize herself in her mind. Um, Her eyes were changing colors, and this is pit of consciousness. So it makes me think like this song has to do with the self or depression and just figuring out where you stand, like in the midst of your mind. But I'll see maybe about checking out the lyrics afterwards.
Stillness times, wish I'd run, creeped away to the light. In my head, someone else saying snares for my in the darkest place. What was once name? Consciousness. I'm a miniature. I'm a sketch for fading outlines. Multiple selves resonate,
Multiple selves.
but never compromise. Stillness times, wish I'd run, creeped away to the light. In my head, someone else setting snares for my soul, for my soul.
That last riff was pretty fire.
Yes, it is what it is.
That last riff was, ooh, I like that a lot. So this was just over 4 minutes. It looks like the rest of this is just ads for the channel and for other videos. Uh, the melodic portions that they do remind me a lot of like Mastodon and the style of playing that the guitarist for that band does. But this is toned down a little bit. Like it's not as complex um, as Mastodon tends to do. But that's also because this band has such a complex singer. So it leaves space to actually allow her to do more of her vocal melodies, excuse me, and just kind of like mess around and use her voice as an instrument. The video being black and white and it having lyrics having to deal with the self, like made it very clear that there's some portions where she's dressed all in black and her hair is in a ponytail. Then it switches to something and she's all in white and she's wearing like she's not as covered up. And there'll be like variations therein where she's wearing different outfits, but then the hair and makeup are different. So like it's a sliding scale between where she sees herself as this dark presence or this light presence, but then there's pieces of it mixed in with each other. So it being in black and white sort of suited the narrative of the video to display the crisis of consciousness that it seemed like she was having and that she's talking about. Now, I didn't hear very much of the lyrics, but I'm actually curious about this now. Usually, someone has a comment with the lyrics, like within the first little bit here. And there's a slow. Literally the second comment. All right, I keep on losing the keys from reality, and now I'm passing on the wheel to insanity. In a secluded corner, waiting for my time to come, waiting for the bedlam to be pacified. This was written or released last year in December, I think. So it was likely written during the summer of last year. But it's funny how that actually, these lyrics actually like have presence in what's going on with today. Like you feel like you're losing the keys to reality and everything's insane around you. There's bedlam all around you and you're waiting for it to be pacified. So it's just like you can't control the outside. You can only control the inside. But because of how insane everything is, you feel like you're losing your grasp on reality. Let's see. I'm climbing hand over fist and I scratch concrete. Shine in the end, my mistake, it's not there. The air's terribly heavy here. It settles inside and I suffer burn after burn from the dark. So it's, if you're suffering burns in the dark, that means you can't see the fire. And if you're climbing and you're scratching concrete, that would mean that you're like outside on the streets. But why would you be doing that? Shine in the end of my mistake. The air's terribly heavy here. If you're burning yourself, that could be like a fire, which could create the ash. But I'm going literally here, and then I'll go metaphorically. The air is heavy because of the ash from the fire that's burning you, but you're in the dark because you can't see what's happening around you, either because of the ash or because you're clouded in your head. And the fire is sort of a metaphor for your feelings about yourself and your surroundings because you're losing the keys to reality. Then burn in a pit of consciousness. Squeal is bleeding. So I feel there was someone else before me, like a past life maybe. Eyes are changing colors. A stranger knocks on my mind. I become a foreigner to myself. This might not have anything to do with what she just said, but every cell in your body, scientifically speaking, is replaced every 7 years. So every 7 years, technically, as a body, you are completely different, like 100% than you were 7 years prior. So even though your mentality and your mind might be going along the same narrative and path, your actual body itself is 100% different. From my understanding, I could be over exaggerating what it is, but that kind of plays into that kind of duality of not knowing yourself and feeling like there's a stranger, because on the outside you look the same, but you're not the same. It's that whole kind of thought process of, oh, I need to get a surgery. I'm going to get a kidney transplant. Oh, I need to. I broke my leg, so now I'm gonna have these metal screws implanted in there. Like you're slowly adding other pieces into your body that aren't you. And at what point do you actually lose yourself and your sense of self? Because at a certain point, like if you were to become a cyborg, say, in a dystopian future, like what percentage of your body would you have to switch out for parts and pieces before you were no longer yourself anymore? Now, switch that thought process to just the holy kind of mind thing, because you do kind of level up your thought processes and awareness as you age and just explore and actually just feel and live life. So this could be something too, where I guess I should read the rest of the lyrics. But like the viewpoint that I'm going on, like if you experience something, like it could be a tragic event, it could be a triumphant event, it could be some groundbreaking thing that just completely steers you into a different way of thinking. But seemingly, she's talking about like a kind of despair. So it might have been something that like a loss of a relationship, either because someone died or just broke off, like a boyfriend girlfriend situation. Let me get back to the lyrics. Stillness stuns, wish I'd run, creeped away to the light. In my head, someone else setting snares for my soul in the darkest place. What was once named consciousness, I'm a miniature. I'm a sketch forfeiting outlines, irrelevant entity to sanity, a hive for nonsense, for multiple selves, resonating but never compromising. So it could also be multiple personality disorder. And generally, when that happens, it's because of a traumatic event. From my limited understanding, like you back away into like the darkest recesses of your mind and let the id or your ego actually like take the wheel, and it's like a separate bank of information that's accessing the brain. I'm starting to get metaphysical on this. Setting snares for my soul in the darkest place. And when that happens, when you retreat to the back of your mind, if another part of you takes over, takes control, then it could mean that you're setting like little blocks in to keep the weak portion of you, or what you see is the weak portion of you, like hidden away. And the snares and everything could just be like little roadblocks or walls that you put in your mind to protect yourself. Because usually when it's like a multiple personality thing, there's one personality that is trying to protect the identity and sense of self. Stillness stuns, wish I'd run, creeped away to the light. In my head, someone else setting snares for my soul, waiting for my mind to be pacified. Yeah, so this is definitely like giving me thoughts and vibes of either multiple personalities or just like a person who has just had some kind of trauma, experienced some sort of trauma, and they want to hide and run away from it in their mind and not necessarily deal with what's actually happening in the world. And this fire metaphor that she's using is just for like a cloud that she feels in her head because she doesn't feel the sense of self, because she feels like she's losing sanity because of all the bedlam and insanity that's happening on the outside and on the inside. So it's this could also harken itself to like depression. So there's a couple of different levels to this, and a couple of different ways that you can actually process this and try to the prism that you view it through. And that's usually how most good music is, where the lyrics are open to interpretation and they can kind of hit you in different ways depending on where you are in life or what you want the song to mean. And musically, like, it was super interesting. I really enjoyed the melodies. That last riff at the end was just kick ass and awesome. Yeah, this is definitely really really good. And I know I'm rambling in my breakdown of the lyrics here, and this is just a first pass, and I'm kind of talking out of my ass. But yeah, this is sort of what came out of that for me. So if you guys have any thoughts as far as like what you think the song's about, or you just want to actually call me out on the bullshit that I'm saying, feel free to do that. Like I said, I've got my glass of wine and I'm just rambling a little bit. But yeah, I enjoyed this immensely, and I'm kind of chomping at the bits to hear more.